The LA Chargers have officially outsmarted the rest of the NFL with the news that came out today. We'll get right to it. If you're new to the channel, we're Detroit Lions fans, but we have this channel all about the LA Chargers because we really like Jim Harbaugh. We live here in Michigan, and we can't wait to see what he does. So our main channel is Sports Talk Detroit, but this channel is all about the Chargers. I mentioned that because the Detroit Lions, kind of in a similar boat as the Chargers, kind of rebooting their franchise just a few years ago. And I'm seeing a lot of similarities from what the Detroit Lions did in that first draft, first free agency, to what the Chargers are doing. And it's very smart, and they're outsmarting everyone else. So the first thing, and what kind of got me on this and paying attention, was Over the Cap came out with basically their prediction for the compensatory picks for next year. So remember, this is basically taking free agents that you lose to other teams. It's your own free agents. You lose them. The NFL comps you, says, hey, you lost your own guys. You couldn't keep them. So we're going to give you a pick in return. And it goes on salary. It goes on playing time. So Over the Cap kind of goes through this, and they look at it, and they kind of put it all matrix and composite what they think. The best you can get is a third round pick, and it goes all the way through the seventh round pick. And there's only a certain allotted amount. And then after they get through that, and then anybody else, they just like, sorry, no luck. So if you look at it, the Chargers have 1, 2, 3 more picks in their sixth round picks. And if you look at who they got in the sixth round this year, you can see that they got the running back from Troy, but even Brendan Rice, Cornelius Johnson, they've got some. Cam Hart was a fifth round pick, so there's opportunities to get good players in the sixth round. Just having that extra amount to play with and to use to move up and do different things with. Now, Joe Ortiz said in his opening press conference that comp picks were going to be a very important part of their strategy. So you draft well, that player is in your program, you get to see them. If you like them and they get through their end of their first contract, you can re-sign them. You will re-sign them. You know them, you drafted them, but then they get to that end of that first, and you're just kind of like, you know what, it's not a fit, whatever, for whatever reasons, and you let them go. Then you get a comp pick in return, and the cycle continues. And so it all starts with drafting well. So that's number one, is Joe Ortiz says, this is what we're going to do. Just like that, they get it. Now, if you look at who the players were that left, it's like, see ya. Gerald Everett. Like, I like that guy. He looks sweet, but it's like, see ya. You know what? Because we're turning over this whole franchise and turning over the roster. Austin Eckler, see ya. I mean, he got, I never bought into him just as an outsider looking in. He had that one good year, kind of felt like, and that was it. Let me know in the comments, Chargers fans, if I'm missing anything with Austin Eckler, but see ya. What you have now is just as fine. Kenneth Murray as well. So you take that, they let those guys go in free agency, and that was what's really important. This first free agency is so important because you don't want to lock yourself into a bad contract, get carried away, try to win over the fans. Let's go sign somebody big. It doesn't work. Free agency is not how you turn your franchise around. And you look at teams that continue to fall into this trap. Here it is, your old friends, the Raiders. Classic. I mean, I couldn't think of a better example of what you do not do. The Chargers now were above the cap, and they couldn't even have pulled this off this year. But same thing, where it's just like 4-year, $110 million deal to an aging D tackle. That's terrible. You don't do that. And that's why the Chargers said, look, our cap's all screwed up. We're not going to screw around with these big deals. So they were very cautious and almost didn't do anything in free agency. That is a good thing. Let the salary cap and in your roster kind of reset this year, and you have to settle down. You look at teams that do stuff like this, just get themselves in a bind. They're constantly in a bind when it comes to the cap. They've got aging players. What do they do with them? That's what you don't want to do. And so the Chargers let guys walk, get the comp picks. They don't go crazy in free agency. Then they nail the draft. And this is just where they're just outsmarting everybody already. And this is the big the big takeaway from the offseason, now that the draft's done, if you're a Chargers fan, you can be so excited. Again, I can speak on this just because I've watched it in absolute action with the Detroit Lions. This is almost mirroring exactly what they did. First year with Brad Holmes, they get Penei Sewell, tackle, stud. It's a foundational piece. Every team needs a star tackle. You got it. Next one, you need a receiver that can get open. You know, and it can go in any particular order, but at some point you've got to compile these like 6 pillars that I'm going to talk about. A receiver that can go open. The Lions got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Ladd McConkey. Next one, Junior Colson, pillar, linebacker, right? Again, there's different order you could do this, but you get your pillar guy right there. Defensive tackle, 6'4", 300 pounds. Is he Christian Wilkins? No, but he's cheaper and he's 22 years old versus 31. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there you go. You use the draft. It's the way it should be done. You get a couple corners, you get a couple receivers. You get your pillars though, and you get them through the draft. Now, another article was talking about instant impact rookies for 2024. Now, this article was kind of focused on Malik Neighbors. I went to the Giants website. Another example of mistake, right? The Giants don't have an offensive line or a quarterback, but you get the shiny new toy. Giants fans are loving it. It's New York. They've been doing this for years now, reaching for shiny objects, and it just is fun in the moment, but come Sundays in the fall, brutal. But look at this. Even in this article, Ladd McConkey, Joe Alt, Chargers have 2 of the top 10 instant impact rookies for 2024. So by taking Joe Alt early and then you can still get Ladd McConkey, and that was the plan all along. So if you're a Chargers fan, your general manager and head coach are just outsmarting everyone, and they're doing what you're supposed to do. And they're letting these other teams get the shiny toys, Christian Wilkins, Malik Neighbors. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You have to get your foundational pieces through the draft. Don't be an idiot in free agency, especially in that first offseason that you start the rebuild. And that's what the Lions have done. And they have I've got cornerstone pieces, one after another. Brad Holmes has drafted these absolute studs that are going to be around. Now they're starting to earn their contracts because they've been in the building. It's like, absolutely, here you go. We can work around it. We can find other pieces. You are an absolute star. We'd pay you more if we could. We don't tell you that, but we'd pay you more because Amon-Ra St. Brown and Penei Sewell just got their money. They're pillars to the team. And it's like, we would seriously, like if we could, or if we had to, we'd pay you way more than we're getting you for a bargain. We know what you're all about. You're great on the field, off the field. We drafted you. You've been in the building. We know exactly what we got. We're not bringing in the stranger free agent. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Would love to hear it. Again, if you're not subscribed to this channel, it's all about the Chargers, kind of an unbiased look into your team. And we'll see all of you on the next one.